I accepted a challenge to prove that the Jehovah Witness religion is true according to science. Because when I was at Pioneer School, we learned this easy equation, 3 equals 1. That's what all other religions believe, that 3 equals 1. It's stupid and we can prove them wrong. And we were told that we were going to tell people that this is wrong, because basically what they're saying is that 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 1. And honest-hearted people would listen to this argument and they will become Jehovah Witnesses. But evil people would say that, no, I trust in my own understanding. And we were supposed to tell them that Jehovah gave you a brain because he wanted you to use it. That's what we learned in the Pioneer School. And then, since we can, as Jehovah Witnesses, prove every other religion wrong using mathematics, if you can prove something wrong, you can prove it right. So I'm going to use science to prove the Jehovah Witness religion right. So you have to watch to the end. Your life is depending on it. But it's easy. Jehovah Witnesses believe Jehovah equals 1, Jesus equals 1, Holy Spirit equals 0, which make 1 plus 1 plus 1, 2. That's not a big deal. It's not important because Jehovah Witnesses know that Jehovah is, the Bible calls him Alpha and Omega. Everything, the beginning and the end. He's the only one with that title. And Jehovah Witness history started with the faithful and discreet slave, and called Charles Taze Russell. Jehovah Witnesses used to believe that Charles Taze Russell was the faithful and discreet slave. You can't blame them for that because it's 1 equals 1. It's easy, it's simple, that's what they used to believe. And Charles Taze Russell had found the key to understand Bible prophecy. If you go to jw.org and you look for the key to understand Bible prophecy, you will find the key to understand Bible prophecy. It's a wonderful key that Charles Taze Russell used to unlock the wisdom of God, the key to understand Bible prophecy. And that was the principle of 1 day for a year. So 1 day equals 1 year, and there's a precedence for this in the Bible, that the Israelites did something bad for 40 days, and therefore they had to walk 40 years in the desert. 1 day for a year. And the same with the Israelites had to be 70 years in Babylon, in captivity. So, 40 days equals 40 years, and 1 year was, according to Moses, 365.25 days. And this is where Moses went wrong, because the Israelites did the same mistake in Babylon. They were 70 years in Babylon. Because what they didn't know, because at that point they did not have a channel of communication to Jehovah, the faithful and discreet slave. Because Charles Taze Russell realized that 1 year is 360 days. If the Israelites would have known this, they would have left Babylon half a year earlier. But they didn't. So the faithful and discreet slave realized that 1914 is when the Lord's Day would start. This is when it gets interesting, because Revelation is kind of the most important piece of religion for Jehovah Witnesses, because they say we read everything. Yeah, but if you would remove the stuff that's in Revelation, then kind of the religion would not be as spectacular as other religion. It would just be Christian domination. Most of the Armageddon, the 144,000, all of this is from Revelation. So this is where we find the good stuff. And the key to understand Revelation, there is a key to understand Revelation. And it's when the Apostle John say that by inspiration I came to be at Lord's Day. So Jehovah Witnesses believe that what the Revelation talks about is what will take place after 1914. So the faithful and discreet slave realized that one day for a year is not what Moses and the Israelite thought, but 360 days, and it came to 1914. And therefore, the second key to understand Bible prophecy is the notion that when he said, by inspiration, I came to be on the Lord's day, everything he is talking about is a prophecy of the time from 1914 to the Great Tribulation. So, how long will that period be? So the period that prophetically is called the Lord's Day, how long will the Lord's Day be? Well, we don't know. We don't know. But what we do know is that the Bible talks about two witnesses. It says that there were two witnesses that were preaching in Egypt and Sodom. And this was a prophecy of Atlanta, USA. Because the two witnesses was symbol of 1 plus 7. It says here that they were a symbol of Rutherford and 7 others. You can please look it up. So Jesus elected Rutherford and 7 others as his faithful and discreet. So the faithful and discreet slave equals the two witnesses, that is 1 plus 7. And Rutherford thought this happened in 1918. That's an honest mistake, because Jesus appeared invisibly. So later we got new light, and it was 1919. So Jesus did not elect him in 1918, 1919. But this was a symbol that Jehovah Witnesses were liberated from Babylon the Great. So Egypt and Sodom is a symbol of Atlanta, USA. That's a symbol of Babylon. So later, Jehovah Witnesses received new light and said, it's not Rutherford that's the faithful and discreet slave. So the faithful and discreet, the two witnesses is 7 plus 1 equals 144,000. So 144,000 is the faithful and discreet slave. And we realize that doesn't make any sense, that one slave should be 144,000. So we received new light that in 2017 that the faithful and discreet slave is the 8th man in the governing body. So 1 equals 8. While the 144,000, you get the 144,000. If you take 12,000, a symbolic number, times 12,000, a symbolic number, you get a literal number. And 144,000 is the same as the 24 elders, which is the same as the bride of Jesus. So you see, it makes sense. And if you read here, it says that Jesus, they refer to Jesus as Alpha and Omega. So Jesus is Alpha and Omega. And this is where people that are Trinitarians go wrong, because they think Alpha and Omega is the same as God. But then they believe that 3 equals 1. So we know when God is the only one called Alpha and Omega, and Jesus also is Alpha and Omega, it doesn't mean, because Jesus is not a part of Trinity, Jesus is the Archangel, Michael the Archangel, plus Logos, and the Son equals Jesus. So Jesus is not a part of a Trinity, and neither is God, but both of them is Alpha and Omega. So, if you find this confusing, you must remember that your life depends on understanding this. And that's why God gave us the governing body, or the faithful and discreet slave. So, the faithful and discreet slave was elected was identified by Russell, but Russell wasn't the faithful and discreet slave, but he did understand 1914, which turned into 1919 when Jesus elected them, and then the light being clearer. So in 2017, we realize who Jesus elected in 1919. So the speed of light is ever increasing. So we know now what Jesus did in 1919 was revealed in 2017. So, because otherwise, if Jesus elected Rutherford in 1919, and then when Rutherford died, who would be the faithful and discreet slave? Well, there was an apostolic succession. So when Jesus invisibly elected Rutherford and Rutherford died, there was an apostolic succession. And that's how we know that Stephen Lett is elected by God in 1919, even if he didn't die, was born in 1919. So if you need to find a deeper thing of God's one true religion, you can go to JWR and read about apostolic suggestion that links Rutherford to Stephen Lett and your future paradise. Did I forget something? I think it's a beautiful equation, and maybe some of you are thinking, how can this goat farmer do this? He had no education. Well, actually, I've been to the theocratical minister school. 1 year at the theocratical minister school is better than 100 years at any university. So, what will happen in the future? We know that Jesus is walking, according to here, protecting the congregation. It says that he's walking amongst the lamps and having a star in his hand. And the lamp is a symbol of the congregation, and the star is a symbol of the elders. So the elders protecting us in this troublesome time. So in 1914, Russell thought he was the faithful and discreet slave. He wasn't, but he was right about 1914, and God was so impressed that he elected Rutherford as a faithful and discreet slave. Then there was apostolic session that misunderstood Jesus and said the 144,000 was the faithful and discreet slave. And then the faithful and discreet slave realized that they were not the faithful and discreet slave. It is this governing body now, and they provide us with these loving elders. And we can use this to focus our energy on surviving Armageddon, because this is going to be rough. Because in 1914, Satan was thrown down from heaven, and together with him was 1/3 of the stars. And the stars represent demons. And they knew they had a limited time. So many of them went to flea markets and have been hiding on flea markets since 1914. So in 1914, the Lord's Day began. And we know that because Rutherford realized that the key to Bible understanding is the principle of 1 day for a year. So how long will the Lord's Day be? We don't know, but we know it will end with the millennium. So Jesus talks about 1,000-year kingdom. There will be a 1,000-year kingdom. And I haven't read this, but since we have the key for Bible, understand the Bible prophecy, it's played the same. So the 1,000-year kingdom will be 1,000 days. According to the key to understand Bible prophecy, the 1,000-year kingdom must be 1,000 days. We don't know how long the Lord's days is. However, the faithful and discreet slave is said that this is a generation that is overlapping with another generation. So generation plus generation equals one overlapping generation. And this generation will not be overlapping with the third generation. I don't know, sorry, that was my personal understanding of this. But according to the faithful and discreet slave, there's no reason to believe that one generation should be more than 2 generations. And so the Lord's Day, we don't know what the Bible means when it says the Lord's Day, but we know that it will be, when Jesus said there will be 1 generation, he meant 2 generations. And then the millennium will start. So I think this proves that Jehovah Witnesses are God's one true religion. If you find this difficult to believe, don't lean on your understanding. God gave us a governing body, a faithful and discreet slave. And he wants us to use the faithful and discreet slave. And this is what separates the goat from the sheep. And if you're honest-hearted and you have a humble and you don't think highly of yourself, you realize that your life is depending on this. Because remember, there's a reason to have a healthy panic, because, I need some place here, we know that soon Babylon the Great, which is symbol of Atlanta, correct me if I'm wrong, Babylon the Great is the all false religion. So we wonder, what's false religion? Well, if you disagree with the current governing body, you're a member of false religion. So basically, that's 100% of everyone on the planet. 100%. Jehovah Witnesses excluded, of course. But everyone that has an opinion about something invisible is a member of Babylon the Great. And Babylon the Great is a prostitute riding on a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, which obviously is the UN. And UN is all political things on the planet. So if you have a politic opinion, you're not a Jehovah Witness. That means that you're a member of this. That means 100% of the people also. And this 100% will attack this 100% and remove it. Not remove God's one true religion, because then we have Putin. He is the king of the north, and the king of the north and his ally, let's say that that's 50% of the planet, will start fighting with Biden, which is the king of the south. So it's a little bit confusing, but they didn't have compass from China. So when they wrote the Bible, they thought Putin lived in the north and America lived in the south. Well, in fact, it is east and west. But the light is getting clearer, and now we know that the king is in the north, it is Putin in the east. So Putin in the east and his ally is 50%, and then we have Biden in the west, I would say is 50%. They will be angry. And they will join forces with, what's he called? The guy, Gog and Magog, yeah, because Jehovah Witnesses don't believe that Gog and Magog is Satan like other people believe. They believe that Gog and Magog is a symbol of all politicians on the planet. So we have Gog of Magog is 100%. So this makes 300% of Earth population will attack Jehovah Witnesses, with 1/3 of the demons symbolized by stars. So, but this might give you a healthy panic, because when you have panic and you realize that my life, my future relies on this equation, you really don't have to understand it. You can just trust my word for it. Because the key to understand Revelation is that what the former well-intended but not really faithful and discreet slave, Russell, he realized this. And the key to understand Revelation, the one thing that makes Jehovah Witness religion so beautiful and unique, is what the Apostle John said, that by inspiration I came to be on the Lord's day. Because it is possible to translate that verse differently. You could translate it that the Lord's day is Saturday and say, last Saturday I had a vision. So if someone would translate Revelation that way and say, on a Sabbath or last Sabbath I had a vision, well then the whole religion, Jehovah Witnesses, will kind of disappear. So there is, admittedly, a 50% chance that Jehovah Witnesses got it wrong. But there is also a 50% chance that they are the only that got it right. And I'm 100% sure that those 50% are correct. So, yeah, I think I made this, and I hope you understand this, that you accept it as the truth, because it's not from me, it's from the faithful and discreet slave. And your life's depending on this. So maybe you have a goat-like personality, maybe you have an uncircumcised heart, maybe you're not a truth seeker, maybe you're not honest-hearted, maybe you're a homosexual. Well, there's still hope. There are many former homosexuals that realize that this is the truth and no longer are attracted to other men. So, peace be with you. Like and subscribe for everlasting life. See you in paradise.